Hello folks, this is the old sergeant with some follow-up information. The attack on the Mormons was a targeted attack. They intended to kill the women and children as an example to the Mormon communities that did not cooperate with the cartels. The cartels have said that it specifically was an attack against white Christians. They wanted to make that very clear. As far as the Marine call-up, we have a possible geological disaster happening on the west coast of the United States due to the Cascadia subduction zone. We've had numerous earthquakes, lava flows have been detected underground, and the geologists are really worried that this could go very hot all along the west coast, which would make a disaster for the Marines to come in and try to take care of. Another possibility is California is in a state of insurrection, and the president may be forced to invoke the Insurrection Act. California is trying to exit the United States. It's called Calexit, and they are flaunting violations of federal law, letting everybody in across the border that can possibly come in. They don't care what happens to the residents as all the crimes skyrocket. The lawlessness of the government for their extreme leftist views has destroyed California to the point where most of California wants to secede from the liberal part. They are called the New California folks, and they want to become the 51st state. But the Calexit people, the leadership, is in open revolt against the federal government of the United States. And we may be forced to go in and take over those governments and restore California. The cartels now control large sections of the southern United States. Large sections are no-go zones because you don't dare go in there or you'll probably be killed by the cartel. We may have to go in and take care of the situation, taking out the cartels in military intervention and armed conflict on our own soil. The president should call the cartels what they are. They're terrorists, and we need to treat them like terrorists, and we need to kick them off our soil. Islamic Forces have penetrated into the United States. They are in all 50 states. And the recent attack in Pensacola, killing 3 people, injuring 8, by a Saudi Arabian pilot. And apparently, the latest information is it was being filmed by his cohorts. That's it. That's enough. We need to take all these people from the Middle East that we're training, send them back. I'm sure the military-industrial complex is going to be really upset that they're not going to be able to sell fighter planes and other weapons to the Middle East. But why import enemies of the United States so they can kill us? They hate us. They want us dead. The enemy of my enemy is not my friend. Saudi Arabia is not a friend of the United States. We just have to tolerate him for the moment. There is some information that China may have some influence in Mexico. We got to consider Mexico a failed state. The cartels are in control of Mexico. We talk about corruption of the officials a lot of times. It's not that they're corrupt, it's that they're scared. They'll be told that if you want to live and you want your family to live, you'll do what we tell you to do. And a lot of them are forced to. Numerous times, somebody will be elected into like a sheriff's office down there, saying, I'm going to take care of the cartels. And they're quickly murdered. Mexico should be a thriving nation. They've got lots of natural resources. They border 2 oceans. They've got a strong, hard-working people. They should be competing for being one of the top 5 in the world with their economy. But because of the cartels, they're not. We should really declare war against the cartels, because we won't be saving only us. We're going to be saving the Mexicans too. Back on China, they had a port until recently in Long Beach where they are able to come and go and bring anything they want into this country without inspection. What type of things do you think they might have brought in? Chinese Special Forces? That when the excrement hits the fan, they will aid in the takedown of the United States, where you have all the enemies of the United States that have infiltrated into the United States, the Islamists and the Chinese could do tremendous amount of damage to our country. China is in a precarious place right now. They could really use the resources of the United States, and their military leadership said, we're not conquering them to subjugate the American people. We will kill the American people and replace them. They want to destroy us, down to the last man, woman, and child, and take over our country for its resources. That's China. And we're in a cold war with China. It's amazing nobody has come out and talked about that yet. But that is exactly what's going on. They are our enemy. They have a lot of weaknesses. And with those weaknesses, they may start taking actions that they normally wouldn't have. On the presidential coup, recently you heard that what the media call a food taster was in the hospital in critical condition because of the food having been poisoned. We don't have food tasters. That went out a long time ago when we were able to test the food without having somebody to taste it, and if they didn't die, then you could feed it to the king. However, the person that got sick was a chef, and it's normal, of course, for them to taste the food that they're preparing. Which is why the president was sent to the hospital, because of the possibility he may have eaten some of that food. Now, considering how many precautions are taken to prevent tainted food from getting into the White House, this had to be an inside job. Somebody with access to the White House had to be able to go into the kitchen and poison the food. This was another attempt to take out the president. There's a lot of people that want to assassinate our president. And that was just another attempt, even though they don't talk about it much in the media. The deep state coup plotters are trying the impeachment route. And one of the scary things about this impeachment route is in the Senate, we have a lot of deep staters talking to the senators to try to convince them or to threaten them to vote for impeachment when the impeachment is in the Senate. This is a major worry. That yes, they could vote to impeach the man because he's not one of them. He's not a deep stater. So it's best for everybody if we got rid of President Trump. So the assumption that it's going to be killed in the Senate is too much. If they can't do that, they always have the 25th Amendment. trying to get his cabinet to vote to replace him, that he is not competent to continue as president. Most of his cabinet is made up of old deep staters. These are the people with the experience, and these are the people he had to fill his cabinet with. You have other deep staters talking to the cabinet, trying to convince those members to vote the president out of office. And of course, this is a continuing effort. As soon as they get enough people that will vote the president out of office, watch them try to invoke the 25th Amendment. The president being removed by these means are one of the two examples I gave as to what could cause a civil war to become active within this country. One was the Second Amendment, the attempt to confiscate our guns, and one is removal of President Trump in this manner. This is one of the most frightening times I've ever been in my life, and I'm in my early 60s, and I've never been so frightened for my country as I am now, seeing what the communists in our government are trying to do. The communists that run the media, the communists that run our entertainment, the communists that educate our kids and young adults in the universities. I am frightened, and we better start taking action, or we're going to lose our republic. We'll wake up one day and the communists will have overthrown everything, and we're going to have military vehicles going down the roads by our houses with troops coming in to confiscate our weapons and our food. This is not fear porn. This is reality. This has happened to many nations before. So, ladies and gentlemen, as always, stay vigilant.